So this week I decided to prepare a Kartoffelpuffer, which is a typical German dish. So the Kartoffelpuffer was first served in Germany since the 18th century, and potato, which is the main ingredient in a Kartoffelpuffer, was first grown in the German Andes in the 30 Years' War, and it was cultivated in the 17th century. So Kartoffelpuffer is actually typically considered as a street food or a fair food, and it's often served in Catholic German households as traditional family dinner. And the cool thing about Kartoffelpuffer is it actually can be a savory and sweet item, so it can be a lunch, it can be a breakfast or dinner item. So it can also be known as a puffer or a latke or a potato pancake. And the popularity grew when Oktoberfest began in 1810, which celebrated the marriage between the Bavarian prince Ludwig and Teresa. And even now today, like Kartoffelpuffers are a very popular food item. And Kartoffel means potato, and Puffer means like a beaten object. And fun fact is it's often topped with applesauce, which I thought was really cool. So I found this nutrition label on the Fitbit nutritional tracker website, and as you can see, a serving size is typically one pancake. And according to Deutschland.org, potatoes have 17 milligrams per 100 grams of vitamin C, and it actually outdoes the apple, which I thought was something that was really cool. And as you can see on the nutrition label, is vitamin C. It actually has 20% of your daily value of vitamin C, which I thought was a lot higher than you would usually expect. So as you can see, the total fat, the cholesterol, and the carbohydrates are relatively high, but it's because it's a fried food item, so that's kind of expected. The relationship to disease, as there's typically no direct relationship to any disease, although potatoes and the frying oil can have high trans and saturated fats, which could contribute to high cholesterol levels if eaten in abundance over a period of time. So I actually got the recipe for Kartoffelpuffer from my great-grandmother. I had never tried it before, but growing up, as I heard my mom would talk about it, so I decided this was the dish I would make. And so she uses potatoes, yellow onion, eggs, flour, and sea salt, and then oil for frying. And I topped mine with applesauce, but it can be topped with powdered sugar, bacon, anything you really want. So the agriculture of the potato, since it's the main item of the dish. So the seasonality is its growing season can range from 75 to 135 days. And the growing temperature ranges from 45 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. And apparently, because the potato is underground, the potato plant can actually withstand light frosting. So if you line up your growing season days, then you can pretty much have potatoes all year round. And the availability, according to Deutschland.org, no other European Union country grows as many potatoes as Germany does, and it produces 11 million tons a year, which is 20% of the European harvest. And the average German eats up to 57 kilograms a year. So I thought this was really interesting that just the pure amount of potatoes that are produced in not only Germany, but in the EU in general. So sustainability is worldwide. It is the fourth most important staple food after rice, wheat, and maize. So we know it's produced a lot. And I thought this fact was also very interesting. Based on the global average, it takes some 1,400 liters of water to grow a kilo of wheat, 2,500 liters for a kilo of rice, and almost 17,000 liters of water for a kilo of beef. However, the exact same quantity of potatoes thrives on only 130 liters of water. So as you can see, that is actually very eco-friendly because it actually doesn't take a lot of water to produce. And during famines in Germany, from what I read from Deutschland.org, was that actually potatoes were the most popular food item because of their hardiness in Germany, that if other crops were not growing for a season, people would survive off of potatoes. Preparation. So again, this was my great-grandmother's recipe. So first you would grate your potatoes, and then you'd put grated potatoes in a bowl with onion, eggs, flour, and salt, and use your hands to work together and to make like a little mixture. And then you'd heat oil over a pan on medium heat, and once it heats up and starts bubbling, you place about half a cup's worth of mixture in a hot pan, and then you flatten out with a spoon and get it as flat as possible and even. And then you fry both sides for 3 to 5 minutes until golden. And then you serve immediately with whatever sweet and savory ingredients you want to put on top. And again, I did applesauce, so I put the cold applesauce on top, and it was actually very good. Tasting, so I live in a college apartment. I don't have a fryer, so I used my stovetop, but my stovetop doesn't really get that hot, so my oil was not able to reach the temperature it really was supposed to. So my Kartoffelpuffer was actually, I feel like, more soggy than normal ones are, so it was still good. It was just a little on the soggier side. I topped mine with applesauce since it was a popular way to be prepared, and it was a good savory taste, but then it had the applesauce to kind of flatten out the taste, and it was actually really good. And it reminds me a lot about like hash brown or like hash brown casserole without the cheese. And this is a picture of a typical Kartoffelpuffer. And then, so growing up, like I said, my German great grandmother would prepare it for my mother and grandmother, and I grew up hearing about it, but I never had the experience of tasting it from her or even in general. And potato pancakes are popular in the South, but are made slightly different. The original recipe came from Germany, but it's been changed over the years in the US. I really enjoyed it. It was very nostalgic for me to taste something that was from my heritage. And it was a really cool experience because I don't really get to eat typical German meals anymore now that I'm in college. So it's something that was new to me, but it was something that I had heard about growing up, and it was very good. And then these are my references that I used. And then I also used my grandmother's personal recipe. Thank you.